Hey YouTube, it's your girl Duchess back for another live. This time it's a recap of the season finale of The Surreal Life. I decided to do this live because it's not going to be very long. I think this finale episode could have been grouped in with last week's episode. It's just not worth all the time of editing and all that piece. It's not a whole lot to say. But we're going to get into it. And before I get started, I appreciate everyone that has supported me with the real life because I really did enjoy the season. It was just a good feel good break from some of the other TV stuff that is out there. So I thought the cast did a pretty good job. It was entertaining for me. It didn't do that well analytics wise, but I still think it was worth the watch. And what I watch, I bring to you. So here goes. Um, and it's completely off the dome, y'all. I don't even have notes for it. But the episode started out with the first task was they did this kind of Mexican sweet 16 party where you kind of announce yourself as an adult, like girls announce themselves as an adult. The theatrics of it all, and not theatrics in a negative way, it's just a big party. It kind of reminded me of like maybe a bar mitzvah. And then the other thing that it reminded me of was kind of like Bridgerton, when you reach a certain age and you're going to start courting. But it gave that feel, and the purpose of it is once you're 16, you're kind of coming forward with who you've grown to be. So that was pretty much the gist of it. And everyone got into like ball gowns and, really nice attire. And they were able to do kind of like a stage presence with props and things and just describe to the audience who they were when they came in and how they're leaving. And so everyone had a progressive spin on who they are. Everyone had growth, a lot more secure and, appreciative and, personalities times 10. So they went through that piece. And I think that it's been kind of the same theme because the whole piece of it was to get some serenity around safe people and have exercises to bring your best person forward. So I can't say that anything that they said wasn't anything that I've already heard. Um, so that's that piece. Then they get to another assignment where they get like a yearbook. They're all sitting home and they get this yearbook, and the yearbook is of their journey there. So it's a bunch of pictures and different candid photos that probably the producers caught. Like it isn't something that any of them have seen before, and they kind of went down memory lane on their different experiences. And so as each person got to who they were most likely to be or whatever, they each had something really nice to say. So the two things that stood out was, of course, we saw in last episode where Chet and Josie made progress in their courtship of it all. And so in this finale, they've become more comfortable. It's only been 2 weeks, and he already had his episode with Kim, but they have gotten more comfortable in their space. And Chad takes this as an opportunity to be open, to be more honest with Josie. And he says to her, she's a model and she's actually very gorgeous and she's really sweet. And so when he first met her, she reminded him of a lot of women that are mean that look like her. And he hasn't had the best experience with them. And so he didn't trust her and he prejudged her. And as he's gotten to know her, he's seen her as really sweet, really kind, very fun. He threw in the respect game, that he respected her and all of that piece. And I really, honestly, I just saw it as he was taking his last shot because they're about to go, and she had given him the green light, and so he has to take advantage of that piece. And it just, I'm not going to say that it sounded like game. I think it wasn't really game, but he definitely was trying to butter her up to get what he wanted if she allowed it. And my thing is, he had already said that he wasn't very faithful. He's had challenges in relationships. He has challenges being faithful in a relationship. So he had kind of, the way guys kind of tell you who they are, so that if you go for whatever it is that they're selling, knowing that it's going to eventually fall apart because they know that they're not really ready, but they don't want to lose the opportunity with you, right? And so they also have an out, so they don't have to really be the bad guy. He can say, I told you I wasn't that great in relationships. I told you I had a hard time being faithful. And you know all of my issues. And so that's kind of like how I saw that play out. And I really wish she had just enjoyed the moment and allowed him to show those things to her over time. But that's not what happened. So he gave that piece to her. Of course, it buttered her up, and she was very, like, all giddy about it. And it also redeemed her in a sense, because she was wondering, what was the issue? Does he really like me? It seems like he's mad at me. Like, she's had a few of those kind of moments. So it was very reassuring to her. We also learned that, you know, Chet shared a little bit more of his journey, the wanting to not be here anymore. He got into that, and he had had a really, really dark space, a really, really dark moment about 2 weeks before he got a call to come on this show. And that wasn't anything different than I've already heard. At the same time, for Josie, she kind of wanted to fix him. It drew her closer to him. And I'm not going to say that that was gameplay. I don't think that's what it was. Everyone was sharing about their journey, but this is what she connected to. Macy Gray was very appreciative of the moment. It's a couple people that she's going to keep in touch with. The cast in general, they really, really bonded. Kim Zolciak talked about this. She had never experienced a safe space that wasn't toxic. And I believe her in that, because she was much different than I expected into real life. She was very pleasant. There wasn't really any outbursts. The only thing that was annoying was her talking about her divorce every 5 seconds in the first few episodes. But again, this wasn't anything that we haven't really seen throughout this season. So I think this episode could have rolled into the previous one. The only thing different is what unfolded between Josie and um, Chet, and then everybody's goodbyes. So later on that night, Chet slid into Josie's DM. She's all excited about it, so giddy. He wants some alone time with her. And so they sneak into this to the bathroom that is connected to Kim and Johnny's bathroom. Like, when we go back to the very first episode, it's the same bathroom that doesn't have any cameras or anything like that. And you can really, really be alone. So that's where they go. And they spend 2 hours in there, and they come on out. And the next morning, she's telling Johnny about it. And Johnny's like, how did I miss that? Like, I sleep less than anyone, and they walked right past me and I missed it. And he said, did anything dirty happen? And she was like, yes. And was it good? And she was like, yes. And so they're all cuddled up and, excited to be in each other's lives and where this is going to go outside of here and all of that. And I know that, and I'm not being judgy at all. Um, I just know that in this moment, that's the wrong move, because she kind of had him on the hook. And once she gave him the cookies, then the thrill is gone. And so I really do think that he was really feeling her and that he was very interested and kind of found himself bonded to her. But by her going all the way with him in that sense, and I understand why it all happened. I'm not saying that. I just kind of would have liked to see her stick to her guns of ignoring him in that piece and not really so much as being aloof, but not going into the whole relationship piece. Like the man has had his addiction stuff. He's still trying to figure himself out. He almost took himself out of here. He's just in his growing phase. And I thought that, they make a really cute couple. And I thought that they would have really had a shot had she waited, but she didn't. She went for it. I understand it because he is attractive and she's been liking him and all the butterflies and all that kind of stuff. So I got it, but I thought that they would be cute together and, that they could have really kind of built on something had she made him work for it. He's Tom Hanks' son, for goodness sakes. I'm sure that's something they've been trying to teach him his entire life, given how things turn out. So, but they went there and we get to, who was the other guy? OT. So OT is the rapper guy, something about I'm in love with the cocoa or something about the cocoa. I've heard the song. He's from LA or something like that, or Compton or one of those, like he's from out there. I would even say Inglewood is coming to mind. But for him, it was a great getaway for him. And, just he couldn't have done it without the people that he was cast with because it's not easy for him to be vulnerable. And he comes from a place where he has to be on guard all the time. He doesn't really, get to completely let go and just kind of be himself self. And so he appreciated that. So he also had an emotional moment. But everyone has said their goodbyes. It's emotional. They hate to leave. They've really bonded. And I believe all of that now is back to reality. And Chet, which I thought was a really good move, he's working on his country album and going down that lane. And I had mentioned that he had a really soulful voice and that he would really do really good with that. So Macy Gray is on tour. Um, Johnny is doing what Johnny does. Josie, they said something about she had a new bow on Instagram. I even found her Instagram page and I didn't really see that, but she's modeling and doing her thing. And so, I really just kind of followed up with it to see if she and Chet are at least still at it with, you know, um, by the time this aired, and that wasn't the case. And I can't even say I was disappointed. It's like I knew that, but hopefully she learns from it. Um, and that was pretty much the entire episode of Surreal Life, the finale. So what are we, 13 minutes, 14 minutes? About how long the reviews last. But again, I just wanted to kind of go ahead and do it live and bypass all the editing and all that piece because it really wasn't a whole lot. But overall, it was a good show. I thought it was a good show. It was entertaining enough for me. And that is all that I have. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.